Yes, people, Manscaped is back, but this time it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of gradient settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.
Afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're listening to around the world. Welcome back to 12th Man. We are back, and I've got another Gooner to Gooner with a good friend of the channel and a good friend of mine. It's, of course, Chris Hudson. Chris, how are you, bruv?
Yeah, all right, mate. Enjoying the summer. Getting ready for the new season. Starting Wednesday.
Absolutely, and we're going to talk a little bit about pre-season. We're going to talk about what's going to be your opinion of it, and also Wednesday and the weekend's game as well. We're going to talk about transfers. We're going to chat to you about what you think of the season. Lots to get into. First of all, people, do me a favor. Make sure you hit a like on this video and, of course, subscribe. Make sure you're following Chris Hudson on all socials. And, of course, make sure you're checking out Manscaped. All you've got to do is click on that code. Click on that link, should I say, and there'll be a 20% code that comes off of the Beard Hedger. So please make sure that you get involved with that. Big up to everybody in the chat room. Big up to everybody that's listening on Catch Up. Chris, first of all, let's talk pre-season. Obviously, you've been out in America. You've seen the games. You've played Liverpool, played Man United, you played Bournemouth. What have you made of it so far, bruv?
Not a lot. I don't get carried away with pre-season, Stan. The Bournemouth game, I didn't bother. I watched the Man United game. Thought we looked good in that. And I didn't watch the Liverpool game, but I'm quite looking. I think Wednesday there'll be a good test to see where we are, because they're not be playing a reserve team Wednesday. They're going like full strength. So, and they were obviously one of the best teams in Europe. So it'll be quite interesting there.
Yeah, it will be, mate. And I've got to ask you about a couple of players. I know you said you haven't seen it in all detail, but from the highlights, for me, it's looking as if we've blooded a few youngsters in this season. I don't know how much they're going to feature, but I wanted to ask you on Lewis Skelly and Ethan Nwaneri and how impressed you've been with the little that you've seen of them. And if you think Ethan Nwaneri's got what it takes to be a part of the squad this season, Chris, because I think he's got an opportunity to step up.
Yeah, because I've watched him in and the other boy at junior levels. I've seen them come all the way through, and they've definitely got it. I'm so, as you know me, I'm a great champion of giving youth players a chance. And I think there's a big opportunity for them there this season. And it depends on, I think we've got to do a little bit more better in the cup competition so they get a game. But if they're that good, I can see them coming on, say, about 20 minutes here, 30 minutes here. If we're in a good position at home with someone, Leicester, 2 or 3 up, put them on for 20 minutes, see what they're made of. Then we've got extra fixtures in the Champions League. So, I think there's a big opportunity for them.
Yeah,
and I'm glad about that.
I agree, and I'm glad about it as well. I think definitely Ethan Nwaneri with the sale of Emil Smith-Rowe, which I'll ask you about in a minute, I think there's an opportunity there for him to actually come in. And if there's a time then Ødegaard needs a bit of a rest, I think the guy's got it. Like, I look at him and I think he's confident, he's comfortable on the ball. He's definitely good ball carrier.
Well, the thing is, one thing about the Euros showed if you're young, it doesn't matter how old you are, if you're good 100%. Enough, you're in. Look at the boy at Spain, he's 16. Incredible. 16. And I thought he was wonderful. And there's other players, other international teams that are getting the chance. I think Arteta's got to start giving some of these youngsters a go, because that's my big criticism of him. That since Smith-Rowe and Saka come through, that's about it, really. And we lost the young Obi Martin this summer. But I think he not only was it money, but I think he thought he'd get a better chance at Man United. But I'll disagree with that. But that's another story.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't know much about him. All I know is that he was goal, mate. I think he scored 10 in one game, 7 in another. Incredible. And I wanted to see him. Apparently, he was asking for a crazy money, though, Chris. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that is true. Well,
apparently it is true, but allegedly, I'll say to that.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, I don't know if he's going to get a better chance at Man United. I know Man United at the moment are on a restructure and a rebuild. Maybe they'll pay him more. Maybe they'll play him a bit more. But I think he could have grown, particularly if he's a centre forward at Arsenal. That's an area that I think we definitely, need. If Eddie's going to be going out the door, which will touch on him, maybe we need Obi Martin. But I mean, I don't know how much you saw of him. Do you think he's going to be a talent, or is he going to be another one of these that comes through and dips?
I saw him once, but there's a chap I know who goes to all the youth games. He was raving about him, saying one of the best players he's ever seen. So
Wow.
it's quite sad, really. So, but what can you do? It's up to him. It's his life, his career.
Yeah.
End of.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not much we can do about that. We might as well stick with outgoings because there's a few more that are coming out the door. Let me ask you about Emil Smith-Rowe. 27 million plus add-ons. Is it good business all round, do you think, bruv?
Yeah, it's good business. Like most people, I was quite sad, but he wasn't getting the chance, was he? And his career was stalling. He'd go to Fulham, he'd be surrounded with people he knows. They play good football. And also, there's not, obviously, because it's little old Fulham, but there won't be so much pressure on him. And I think he'll be able to go there and grow. I wouldn't be shocked saying possibly this time next summer, there'll be a lot of other clubs coming in for him. And I'll be saying, I'm glad we got a sell-on fee because I think he'll go for big money. But he'll do well at Fulham, Dan. But I've gutted, of course I was, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, sad but not devastated, I suppose, is how I felt. Sad that it didn't work out for him, but I kind of get it. I understand it. He's played 600 minutes in the last 2 years. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not getting enough game time, and I understand why he wants to go and have a new challenge and try and get in the first team. If he stays fit, I think Fulham have got a wonderful talent. I really do. I think he's a great, great player and a great lad too. So I wish him all the best. Do you think we'll need to replace him, or do you think that we'll use Ethan Nwaneri and Vieira?
No, I think we'll replace him with what we got with Ethan and Vieira. I think if you will put a gun to my head, I think I'd rather have Ethan than Vieira because I'm not Vieira's greatest fan, actually.
No, I'm not Vieira's greatest fan either. I think that's fair to say. I mean, even in pre-season, he came on against Liverpool and he looked all right on the ball, but he's just so weak, and he lightweight, gets pushed off it, don't really make anything happen for me. So I'd actually rather see Nwaneri getting a chance ahead of Vieira, but I don't know if Arteta sees it that way personally. But listen, obviously Reece Nelson and Eddie Nketiah, I want to ask you about that. We'll start with Reece Nelson. Looks like Leicester are interested. There's rumours of a loan with an obligation to buy. Can you see that one pulling through? And what do you make of Nelson?
Yeah, he's another one that needs to go, Dan. Football's career short. How old is he now? 21, 22?
He's older than that, I think.
He's not going to get in the first team. And, it's not our stupid money for him. And let him, there's another, Leicester, he'll do really well there. I thought West Ham was sniffing around it. But now they bought the boy from Leeds. I think that's that knocked on the head. He needs to go. Eddie, well, Marseille have pulled out, I think. They're not going to pay the money. And I know people say, in today's market, he's worth this and this and this. But I'd rather just let him go, take the money and get on with it. Because with I thought West Ham might come in for him. Brentford could possibly, because they've lost the boy who they bought. He's out for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
You don't know what's happening with Tony. And I think you do well there. But I've just read that Arteta, I think this may not please a lot of people, will keep him, Eddie, if he can't get the money. But what does that do for Eddie sitting on the bench for 12 months? So,
Wow.
me, if I was in charge, but I'm not a businessman, not Edu, I'd take the money. I'd rather have the money in the bank than the player sitting on the bench on £100,000 a week doing nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it's frustrating. I'll share this because at the moment I don't know how much, it's all rumours at the moment, innit? But this is a report I've seen a couple of hours ago now, which suggests that the deal might be off for Marseille. Apparently, this has come from Graham Bailey. Understand that Arsenal are prepared for Eddie Nketiah to stay at the club if their valuation is not met by interested parties. With Arteta more than happy to keep the player, he insists he was never pushing him out of the club anyway. I don't know what you think of this, mate, but that to me says we want 30 million euros, and if we ain't getting it, he's going to stay. I mean, that to me is a bit of a madness, in my opinion, because I feel like we should be trying to just accept it. When we got 27 million euros, and here Smith-Rowe, which is 23 million, Smith-Rowe was 27 plus add-ons. I mean, that's about right for me. Like, I think they'll potentially, that could be the club saying, well, we'll keep him then to try and make Marseille panic and think, oh, okay, we better pay some more. But I don't know if Marseille got the money. This kid's on 100k a week, Chris, as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but Marseille, I don't think have got the money. And B, I think they bought their sort of second choice anyway, and they bought someone else today, haven't they? I don't know, some Argentinian kid. So, but they haven't got the money. But I'm a little bit shocked at someone like Leicester, Forest, Fulham, other Premier clubs haven't come in for him.
Well, maybe they will. I mean, I think Wolves and Brentford were looking at some stage because obviously there was rumours about Ivan Toney leaving, and I think that we could do something there. Don't think we want Toney by the looks of things, but certainly Brentford would be looking at a striker if he was to go, and I think Eddie would be perfect for that sort of club. But I don't see any English clubs going in for him at the moment.
And I wonder if we're going to take the same stance with Ramsdale. Because if we don't get the money for Ramsdale, are you saying to me, well, he's staying there?
I would keep him if we ain't getting any good money for him. I ain't going to sell him for like 10, 15 million.
No.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, someone's got to come in with 30 million and go and get him, which is fair.
There was rumours of Forest, but then they bought a giant 6'4" goalkeeper, haven't they, apparently? So who knows, Dan? But I wouldn't mind keeping Ramsdale. But it's like you and I say, I wouldn't mind keeping him. You've got to think, does he want to sit on the bench? Because he'll lose his England place without that.
Yeah, that's what people are saying. Like, you've got to look at it carefully and go, right, we're going to really piss him off if we keep him on the bench. However, we've got to replace him. And if there ain't nobody that can replace him, and there ain't a team that wants him for the right money, he'll have to stay, would he? I mean, like, I don't want to downgrade on Ramsdale if we ain't going to bring someone in that's better than him or as good as him. And
you got to have a good number 2 goalkeeper. I mean, Hine is a good young keeper, but I think they want to loan him out. And then, as I've said to you before, if Ramsdale was to leave, then I'll be trying to get Szczesny back, who's still available at Juventus.
Yeah, apparently that was some news yesterday suggesting that he was back on the market because he was going to go to Saudi, wasn't he? That's all broken down. So looks like there could be an option for that. I mean, if there's a goalkeeper available, I would actually rather have a De Gea or a Szczesny coming in with experience on the bench. I don't really want Cole Hines on the bench or, one of the youngsters we're buying, that Tommy Setford and Dan Bentley. I don't want all them on the bench. That ain't good enough. We've done that with Matt Turner, who I thought was rubbish. I told everyone he was rubbish from day one, and everyone told me I was out of order. You could tell he was no good. Do you know what I mean? And he can't get into the Forest side now, and people are like, disappearing, who are all laughing at me saying he ain't good enough. Clearly, he was not good enough. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know what it is with goalkeepers, Chris. I don't know how many goalkeepers we've had, but
it's ridiculous. And the ironic thing is, we should have stuck with the one we had. But that's a long story.
Oh, mate, I've said this since day dot, mate. That was the biggest mistake, or one of the first biggest mistakes that he made. Honestly, that was a stupid decision. That not to get rid of Emi Martinez over Leno, and then the next year to sell him for $3 million to Fulham. What was he doing there? That was a madness, wasn't it? That was a stupid decision, that. And I think he knows it was a silly decision, to be honest. In terms of other outgoings, defenders, I mean, I'll come to the incomings in a minute, but Kivior and Zinchenko, and Tierney, what's going to happen with our left backs?
Unfortunately for Tierney, he's got an injury, so no one to buy him. But there was a lot of rumours in the Scottish media, because my family are from Scotland, that he was on his way back to Celtic. And I think if he can get himself fit, I can see that happening in January.
That's true.
The Polish boy has a lot of Italian interest. I think I'd let him go, but once again, I wouldn't be letting him go to peanuts. And Zinchenko, I'd keep him, but not to play as left back. I'll use him as cover in midfield. I don't want him anywhere near the left back position.
Me neither, mate. Me and you both. I think he's absolutely diabolical at left back. I mean, I don't know if you saw
in midfield.
A Liverpool goal. Salah just did him again. Why is he playing left back again? He's just terrible, mate. He really is. Defensively, he's got no ability whatsoever. But on the ball, I don't mind Zinchenko on the ball. Offensively, he's all right. Like you say, he plays in the 8 for Ukraine. Maybe he'll come in and be that kind of cover for Rice and Merino if we did need him. If Merino does come across the line, but. I mean, Zinchenko, for me, if someone come in for 25, 30 million, I'll probably look to get rid of him. But Kivior, I think, actually wants to go and get first-team football. You can't keep players that want to go, Chris. Do you know what I mean?
No.
If he wants to go...
Thing is, perhaps I'm in minority. I like Kivior. I thought remember that when he came in the season, he had a really good run at left back, and then he had a nightmare against Bayern Munich when he got ripped apart by Sane, and that was it. I'll tell you, didn't see him again. But I think there's a player there, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we will. 100% we will. Sticking to left backs, Calafiori is a done deal. Looking to see him on Wednesday and at the weekend, hopefully, start to integrate him into the squad. Where do you see his role, Chris, and what does it mean for Timber?
I see him as a left back. And the Timber thing, that's a bit of a quandary for me. I think Calafiori is my first choice. But remember, Timber can play there if the Italian boy has to cover Saliba and Gabriel. So I think they're all going to have to rotate. But remember, the great thing about Timber, Dan, he can play anywhere, midfield. Yeah. So basically, I think Timber might be jack of all trades this season.
I think he will be, and he's incredibly versatile. We've seen him right back, left back, centre back, midfield. I think he's a really good signing, and one that actually feels like a signing for this year as opposed to last year. I don't want to sound like Arsene Wenger, but he actually is a new signing, isn't he? Because he hasn't kicked the ball yet, really, and we've had him for this long. So I think Calafiori just adds to what is already a really strong defence, and I actually don't really understand the people that are questioning this one, because I thought left back was a disaster last year. It was we were shuffling it around, weren't we?
But the thing is, perhaps Arteta is going to do a Jules Graham 1991, Dan, where we're going to let in 18. That year we let in 18 goals.
There you go.
Which is, how about that? So if he was to concede 10 less goals this season, we'd win the league.
Well, listen, I've done a show that I'm putting out later tonight, thinking that the target should be to get as close to that Chelsea record as we can, mate. And I think that's what Arteta's doing. We might not do it, might not. 15 goals they conceded in this season. That's just ridiculous. If we did that, wow, that's what we've got to aim to do, because our defence is already strong. If we're making it stronger, I honestly believe that is a wonderful thing. Let's talk about Mikel Merino, because I've put the title, Where Is He? Because it sounds like we've been linked with this guy for about 2 years now. Or it feels like that. Obviously, he had a good Euros. I thought I was quite impressed with him at the Euros. Different sort of midfielder, more of a box-to-box, like an 8, physically imposing with 6'2". What do you make of it, Chris? Do you think this will get done?
Yeah, I was reading today, he's only come back from holiday today.
Right.
And apparently he turned up with his agent, so I'm hoping he'll sign sometime next week with a bit of that. Yeah, obviously, I watched him in the Euros. He looks really good, strong. I don't think he shirks a tackle. And I think he'll improve. What he might do is improve Martinelli, because we badly missed Jack. Remember, Martinelli suffered last season, mate.
He did.
If we can get Martinelli up and firing, by the way, he did look sharp in that Man United pre-season. I mean, that's a two-way win, isn't it? You got an extra midfield player, and you get Martinelli up and firing. So, good.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll come on to Martinelli, because I honestly do feel like, as much as I can't make up excuses for players, he needed to look at his own performance for sure. But when you've got a different left back, a different left 8, and a different number 9 next year every week, you're struggling, mate. And when you look behind him and he's got Timber, and then it's Zinchenko, and then it's Kivior, and then it's Tomiyasu, he's like, bloody hell, I can't get any telepathy here. Then he's looking to the right of him. It's Kai Havertz to start with. Then he's bombed out, and you get Smith-Rowe. Then it's Fabio Vieira. Then it's Declan Rice. And then up top, you've got Havertz, Jesus, and Trossard all play out there. It's like, hang on a minute, there's no stability there. Whereas our right-hand side, Saka and Ødegaard play every game, and White and Saliba play every game. Do you know what I mean? So our left-hand side was so lopsided, and I honestly believe that Calafiori and Merino coming in, I think Martinelli could flourish, mate. I really do. I think this season could be his year.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, mate. I know, but just picking up on something you said, that Ødegaard and Saka play every game. As we sit here, Saka, we still haven't got cover for Saka.
Yep, exactly.
We can't keep flogging him to death. Like England, he's played all the England games. He's played every Arsenal game. I don't care what he obviously is made of kryptonite, but there is one day the chickens have come home to roost. I'm telling you.
I agree with that. No, I agree with that, mate. And unfortunately, I don't see any links to any wingers at the moment, other than about 26 minutes ago, this came in, which is something that is news to me. I don't know anything about this player, but and it might be a load of rubbish. But this is the latest link from Arsenal. Arsenal have accelerated negotiations to sign the Galatasaray winger Barış Yilmaz. He's 24 years old. Details of a potential agreement are being discussed, and Arsenal will pay 20 million euros for the player. Anybody heard of him?
He played in the Euro. He played in the Euros, Dan. He ran. He was like road runner. I've never seen anyone run up and down a wing as much as him. In that Turkish team, he was one of their best players. Yeah, well, if that's true, that's good news.
Yeah, you're a fan of him, are you?
Yeah, well, I did. I was quite a fan of the Turkish. That boy played. The one who's at Real Madrid, Dan. What a footballer!
Yeah.
God, well, yeah, I enjoyed Turkey. Yeah, I watched him in the Euros. You're a good player.
Listen, if he's going to come in and cover for Saka, then that's the guy. But I think people are looking at Eze, Neto, Leroy Sané as being potentials. So this one is one that I didn't expect. And that's what happens at Arsenal sometimes. We were looking at Bakayoko over at PSV a few weeks ago, and it looks like, if this is true, that we're now looking to accelerate this one, and this will come in. This will be the Saka replacement. But, I don't know how reliable the source is at Sport Witness, Sok Cassetti. So let's see how true that is. But for me, it's not one that I've actually heard of. So if you're saying he was at the Euros and he impressed, then maybe that's what Arteta and Edu saw as well. And they're looking at him as perfect cover. Can he play both wide positions? Can he, like right and left? Can he? Or
I can't remember. I think he played on the wide right for Turkey, Dan. But I stand to be corrected.
Yeah. Well, listen, if it's a player that they've looked at, then fair play. If they believe that's something that they can, believe they can get the best out of him, then
was that about? What do you think about that link of Pedro at Brighton?
Oh, João Pedro, yeah. I must say, I quite like him, but I think he's quite a lot of money for his age. I think he was like 55 million or something.
No, it's not worth that.
Quite a lot of money in it, so I don't think personally. They're saying that he's a right winger, a left winger, and he can play in the number 9 this Yilmaz. So, he's 24 years old. So maybe he's one that can play across the front three. And they obviously like him. So let's see. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I do know. I do know something. Knows Turkish football quite well. After this, I'll send him a message. He knows a lot of agents who deal with Turkish players. So I'll send him a message later on and see what he says.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about the player. I just don't. I don't know enough about him. But 24 years old. I'm just looking now. He's obviously at Galatasaray. He signed for them in 2021. He's got 10 goals for them. I imagine he's been a bit part player. He's 6'1", so he's not a short lad. And he's obviously quick, like you say, road runner. So let's hope that he's. If we are in for him, then
there's enough Turkish gooners in North London. I'll sure give us some info.
Yeah, listen. You speak to Turkish. I speak to D. D from the channel is a big Turkish fan. Look, Whittle says, Dan, trust me, Yilmaz is a baller and he will cause defenders problems at the Euros still. There we go. So if that is a genuine link, then maybe we could get a little bit excited by that. It'd be interesting to see what people think of him. But I thought it'd be a bigger name, Chris. I'm not going to lie. I thought we were going to get a winger that everyone be like lifted by. Maybe a Leroy Sané or an Eze or Pedro Neto. I don't know if you think we'll get him one of them potentially.
I think we discussed. I remember Neto. He's too big a risk, Dan. I'm not paying stupid money for a player who plays 15 games a season. Eze, I think unfortunately could be on his way to Tottenham, or he might stay at Palace. And Sané, I do like him, but I think he's staying at Munich. So, but there was another Munich player, Serge Gnabry. I thought we could sniff around him. We'll have to wait and see.
Maybe we can bring him back, but it looks at the moment like that's a fairly a new link. So whether it's solid or not, we'll have to dig into that one a bit more. It broke literally a few minutes ago. So Yilmaz is the guy that we are now looking at as a wide player, and I imagine. I don't know why they do this, Chris, right, Arsenal, but we can only do one thing at a time, can't we? Do you know what I mean? We always go one deal, then the next deal. We can't, like West Ham have bought like 3-4 players in, and we're now like looking at it, trying to get things sorted. But there we go. We'll see if there is any legs on that one.
Talking about West Ham, well, I know this is an Arsenal show. I've got to say their win has been really impressive, you know. And they bought at the moment. Obviously, I would say in London we got the best squad of players. I don't think anyone can argue with that. But I put West Ham above Chelsea and Tottenham there.
Wow.
Controversial. Wow. But look at West Ham. Look at the players West Ham have got, and then look at Chelsea and Tottenham. I know who I'd rather have in the trenches. I'll tell you. But
I mean, I know it is supposed to be Arsenal, but I've got to touch on it. Chelsea. I don't know. Do you understand what they're doing? Do you understand that project?
No, I think they've completely lost the plot. The treatment of Conor Gallagher is a disgrace.
Yeah.
Chalobah, I think that's 11 players they've sold now from their academy, and they're just buying in players that no one's heard of. I don't know. Even Chelsea fans don't know. So what chance have I got? You know, madness, mate.
It is a madness. What about Spurs? Because they've been pretty quiet. Only really signed Archie Gray from Leeds. That's about it, really. Yeah,
but I really like Archie Gray. A lot of their fans are having a bit of a meltdown at the moment for their lack. They remind me of us lot about 3 or 4 years ago. They're having a right meltdown. But I see this connected with the geezer at Bournemouth, aren't they? Solanke.
Yeah, he'd be a good signing, I think.
Yeah, for them. But obviously, I'm not interested in what Tottenham are doing. But that's right. I would say West Ham at the moment are better than Chelsea, Spurs. At the moment, squad-wise.
Interesting. West Ham, to be fair, I did say this morning when I did my transfer show, I said West Ham with Somerville, with Fulkrug, with Wan-Bissaka who's coming in, Max Kilman, who's a good centre-half. They've already got Paqueta, Bowen, Kudus,
exactly.
James Ward-Prowse. Starting to build a good side there now, and Lopetegui's their new manager who is experienced. So I don't know. I know people think he plays David Moyes football, but he is more attack-minded than David Moyes. He is more balanced, I think, and he will have a go. So maybe West Ham could be onto something there, mate. You never know. Yeah. You know, that Tim Stein, who's now involved, he's getting the right players in the door, isn't he?
Yeah. I think that, it could be a bit of, well, I don't think there'd be a threat for the league, but there'd be a threat for anyone's top 4 aspirations. So, yeah.
Wow. Interesting indeed. Let's move and talk about the striker situation, Chris. Let me start from the top. Are we going to buy one, do you think, striker?
Well, I picked up Arteta's quote after the Liverpool game.
Go on.
We've got to be more ruthless. So he was moaning about the chances we missed, but then before that, in the pre-match, he said we're not spending £100 million this season. There won't be any big £100 million. So it's a bit of a contradiction. So we're not getting the boy from Newcastle. We're not getting him. So then I was reading that Arsenal don't really want to pay the fee for Gorkes at Sporting Lisbon. So they'll come to the conclusion the answer is no.
Yeah, and I think we need one. And I'll ask you if you think that we do after this. If it's not Havertz and Jesus up top, then it's going to be Eddie. Eddie's now going. I don't think we can sell Eddie, Smith-Rowe and Nelson and only bring one in those positions. Because that's what we were essentially doing. Like, fair enough when Yeri's being promoted from the youth, but that's it. We're going to buy no striker, but Eddie's going. We're going to buy no winger, but Nelson's going. We've got to get a winger or a striker or both for me. And I think those two, after Merino, I think there's 2 more that we need. And I think it's a winger and a striker, mate. And that's what I would be looking at doing.
It's weird, isn't it? Because last season we didn't have any trouble scoring goals. But you think some of the 5 games we didn't score, how much that cost us?
Yep.
And then, especially by the games where it's fine margins, and you need someone who's going to take that, like an Eduardo or an Alex Sanchez. I mean, why is there not an Eduardo floating around? I mean, it's exactly what we need. So it's a bit of a dilemma for me, Dan, because I can't really think of, if they're not going to pay big money. So what are you going to do? You're going to go with Solanke yourself at Bournemouth? You don't really rock my boat. Then there's
Ivan Toney.
Well, I think he's the perfect solution.
So do I.
I think he'd come in, do a job, but I'll be careful what I say here. I don't think people at Arsenal were that impressed with him. I don't believe it at that.
Yeah, I don't think the attitude of the lad has been very
Well,
well respected. Yeah, from what I hear, but I don't know enough about that. But yeah, that's what I hear. I like him, Chris. I think he causes havoc. He's a nuisance. He's a big, strong lad. He scores goals. He knows where the goal is. I know he's had his problems last season, but when he did come back into the side at Brentford, he absolutely killed it for the first few games. He did drop off a bit towards the back end of the season, but when he come on for England, I thought he did well. He changed the game, and I think he would be a good signing. I still stand by it. I'd rather have Tony than Watkins or Solanke because I honestly believe that he offers more. I like Watkins. I think he was great last year, and he's a great lad, really good finisher. But I think Ivan Toney offers more to his game. But if we ain't got 80 or 90 million to spend, then we ain't going to get Osimhen, we ain't going to get Isak, we ain't going to get Gyökeres. Then if they ain't got that money that they believe is justified to spend on it, then I think if you want to go big next summer for an Isak or someone like that, then Tony at 40 or 50 million is perfect to come in for this summer.
I'm not interested in next summer, Dan. Just next summer's next summer. But the thing is, people like next summer, you might be worrying about keeping Saliba. You might be worrying about, have we gone another year and we've won nothing? What's Saka going to be thinking? No, I'm not in. It's all about now. I can't believe in the whole of European football, or even South American, they can't find a striker.
I know. There's a talent pool that's gone, isn't it? It really has gone. I mean, I always use this example, right? You go back a bit further than me, Chris, obviously, right? But when I look at when I was growing up, and I just take England, for example. I always use this example. When I was growing up, my favourite player was Ian Wright. Got nowhere near the England side because of the quality in front of him. Not because he weren't good enough. Andy Cole was killing it. Couldn't get in the England side because of who was in front of him. Shearer, Les Ferdinand. Now, after Harry Kane, who we got? Tony and Watkins. That's it.
That's it,
That's it. Like, where's it all gone? Because you people might laugh at this, but Emeweski and Crouchy and Defoe and Bent and Agbon Lahore and I've missed players still. Matt Letizia, James Beattie, they were all coming through, weren't they? You think bloody hell, was about 12 or 13 strikers there that I've just reeled off.
If there was a young, I'm talking about an Eduardo. I'll tell you what, there was a young Defoe out there. Well, bloody hell. I don't care how much it cost. What a skull story, yeah. And then look at the geezer we was connected with at Sesgo. I mean, when you sort of delve into it, he only had a very good second half of the season, scored 10 goals. He's not a sort of 30 goal merchant.
No, I agree. I didn't really understand that one. I wasn't really excited by that. Some people were.
But Tony, like people, he's got an attitude, blah, blah. But you could say Ian Wright had an attitude, I don't know what he did. But unfortunately, I can't see it then, He's a worry because I don't want to be sitting here at the end of May and we're having to sort of look back and we've missed the title and by 2 or 3 points because do you remember that game we missed that chance? You know what I mean? We do need a clinical finisher. Unless, of course, I don't know, Arteta's got some little plan up his sleeve where he gets more out of what we got. But we don't know that.
Well, listen, Calafiori, Merino, and if this Yilmaz was to come in, I think they're all good signings, but I don't think it guarantees a title. And I know it's hard to sign anyone to guarantee a title, but I felt like with Declan Rice, it was like, right, we're ready to really go on all fronts here and compete here. I don't know. I feel like we needed that this summer, and Arteta's kind of poo-pooed that really and sort of made it sound as if we're just going to get a couple of 20 or 30 million pound signings and then that's it. Like we're going to have a bit of a Jorginho and Trossard type window. Do you know what I mean? I wonder if that's going to be the case.
And then really, obviously, we touched on this earlier. Obi Martin's gone, and I've watched the youth team lately at Enfield and where else did I go? Bishop Stortford, and there's nothing coming through. So there's nothing, you know what I mean? So there's we got lovely fullbacks and midfielders, but we've got nothing up front, mate. I find it a bit weird. Yeah,
and I'm with you. Where is the talent gone up top? Because if I said to you now, name me the top 5 strikers in the world, that'd be bloody hard, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean? Whereas back then, years ago, you'd be able to reel them off. You know what I mean? You'd be able to say who they were. Now, after Harry Kane and Haaland, it's bloody hard, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're all like
the chap at Naples, Osimhen, a lot of people, not just Arsenal, don't really want to go near him, do they? For some reason, there's something not right about him either. I saw
That's what
Chelsea
they're
would look
saying.
at him.
Yeah, I don't fancy that Arteta and Edu are looking at Osimhen personally, but a lot of people are
No.
saying that he's one in our target list. But I mean, it sounded like we were going all out for this Sesko, and then he decided to stay, and now it's like, right, we don't want another striker then now, and it's like, so he was the only one you wanted. It's very odd, isn't it, how it works, and I don't know. I kind of feel like the best finisher at the club is Trossard, in my opinion, and I quite like him in the 9 personally. But I think Havertz is going to start in that 9. Jesus has got a big season for him. I just don't know that we got enough there that I can say in front of goal, do I put my house on Havertz scoring? I don't. And I don't put it on Jesus either. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well,
So
the thing is, I'll put my ass more on Havertz than what I would on Jesus.
yeah, so would I think. Yeah, so would I think. It's mad.
See, I'm a little bit shocked that Jesus is still here, Dan.
Well, I think he's got one more year. I think that's it. He's got this year, that's it, to prove it. He's just got to stay fit, Chris, as well.
Yeah. I mean, he's a wonderful player, but, I mean, we knew that when we bought him. He's not a 30-goal merchant, is he?
No.
What's the most he scored for Man City in a season? 12, 15?
14, yeah.
Yeah, and then I was thinking, is there anything like in the Championship? Not really. There's nothing. If you go down the leagues, there's nothing up in Scotland.
No.
It's got to be someone somewhere, though, isn't it? Playing in Poland somewhere we never heard of, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, Sesko was the guy that they were like all out for. Now all of a sudden it's like, well, now that he's not going, we don't really want a striker. Well, surely, I mean, there's Alvarez linked, which I can't see happening because Man City are going to sell him to us. There's Osimhen linked, but I don't think Osimhen will come to Arsenal. I think they're going to demand too much. Gyökeres is the guy that I actually would quite like. A lot of people have suggested that he would be a good buy. But it is going to be different. Let's bring this in from Matt. Big up Southern Gooner. I hope you're well, bro. Make sure you go follow the Southern Gooner. Make sure you go show Matt some love. Let's answer this one, Chris. I'll throw this one to you. It says, crazy as this sounds, not pouncing in January window for Ivan Toney has got us in a pickle. It's a case of they decide on what to do or have a plan. I really thought we might have gone for Toney in January to take us across the line, but I think that PSR didn't allow us to do it.
Yeah, I think you're right. But, going back to what I was saying earlier, I just don't think he's impressed people at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Well, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. No, that's it. I don't want to pry. But yeah, no, I feel like there's definitely something there. And I don't think it's only Arsenal either, Chris, because why has no one gone for him? Like Brentford have said he's 45, 50 million pounds. No one's touching him. Why is that? I mean, maybe they will. Maybe Tottenham will go for him, or maybe West Ham or someone, I don't know, whoever they think are interested. Chelsea might go for him still. Man United might go for him still. But no one is, are they? And he's such an easy target to go and get. But he's still at Brentford,
Yeah, it is strange. If it was me personally, and I was Arsenal's manager, which I'm not, I'll take a chance on him. And basically, the first thing I'll do, I'll get him in the club. Then I'll ring up Ian Wright, and I'll say, right, get into his mind, tell him you ain't here mess about, mate. You got a fantastic opportunity, grab it. But that's me.
Yeah, well, listen, I wish you were our manager then, if that's what you do, because that sounds like it makes sense. But yeah, I'm with you. I like him. Always have liked Ivan Toney, and thought he'd be perfect for us. But for whatever reason, it don't look like that one is linked. There's not really a close striker linked at the moment, to be fair. I mean, Victor Gyökeres apparently is the one that they were looking at potentially being close. So, I mean, let's see what happens there. But again, I don't know what's happening striker-wise at the club. And a lot of people say that we don't really need a striker at the club still. So it's crazy, really. I want to bring this up because I've looked at our kind of strength in depth, Chris. And I want to show people what I'm meaning by that and where we're at the moment and why I think we're 2 positions short still. For those that are visually impaired, I do apologise because I've tried my best to blow this up as quick as I can. Listen, we all know about Raya and Ramsdale. We've had that debate. But if you look at us defensively, we've kind of got, in my opinion, positions for every single cover for every single position other than the right-hand side with Saka and the striking option up top, which is why I've left them blank, right? So obviously at the back here, we know Rao and Ramsdale are there. We've got Tomiyasu and White that can cover on the right-hand side. We've got Zinchenko and Calafiori for the left-hand side, and also we've got Timber who can go in there as well. We've got Saliba and Timber and Gabriel and Calafiori that can be the centre-back roles. And to be fair, White and Tomiyasu are quite versatile in that respect as well. I haven't brought up Jorginho, but he's obviously there as well to cover for Rice and Partey in the 6. And I've also got Fabio Vieira, who's not made this graphic, that can play in the attack-minded positions as well. But with Merino coming in there with Rice, I think Rice, Merino and Ødegaard, we've got Partey and Jorginho, Nwaneri obviously as well, we've spoken about, and Fabio Vieira. On the left, we've got Martinelli and Trossard. And up top, we've got Havertz, Jesus on the right, Saka. But if we was to actually have a couple of signings here, let's just say, for example, we sign Gyökeres, let's say, who's now up top there. And then on the wide player, let's just say we get Eze. Let's just throw that in the mix. We got Eze here who can then cover for Saka. We've also got Eze that can cover for Ødegaard. He actually can drop in this position here at the left 8 as well. That's why I think that would be a fantastic signing, personally. I like what I get from Eze. And then Gyökeres here, for me, Havertz might start. He'll be moulded in. But I think he's such an all-round striker. Like, if you watch some of his goals, mate, the ball carrying is magnificent from him, as well as the link-up play. He knows where the goal is. He's got 58 goals and assists in 50 games for Sporting. That is incredible amount of goals. So he clearly knows where the net is. And he did well at Coventry as well. And I just feel like those two positions, Chris, need filling, because then look at it. We are stacked, mate. And I don't want to be left short again this window. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that, mate.
Well, I think that's wonderful, Dan. But the thing, I wonder if Edu's looking at that, thinking that.
Well, yeah.
That's the bottom line, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, that's the bottom line. Edu and Arteta, is in their office at the training centre, is that up on their wall?
Yeah. Well,
basically, I can't argue with it. But we spoke about the Brazilian Turkish boy. He could come in, cover right, left, and centre.
Yeah.
That Yilmaz.
Yeah.
So that signing, all of a sudden, I'm really hoping is true. Yeah, I can't argue. That's wonderful, Dan. But it's right, you and I putting that up there. But I wonder if Arteta and Edu have got the same idea.
Well, exactly that. I mean, it's easy for me to put that up there in my mind, but I'm not the manager or a coach at the club or the director. But for me, I can just see two positions. If we get Merino, which I imagine we will now.
I think we will, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's only two positions, and I think Eze can come in and actually have a little bit of a kind of, versatile role where he can play left 8, attacking 10, wide. And then obviously Yilmaz, if he's the guy we now want, he can be wide as well. So he can be, the replacement for Eze there. Up top, Gyökeres or a striker. And I think we're complete, Chris. I really do. I don't think there's any, you know what I mean? Like, there's no more Nelson being brought on already or we wouldn't see that. And, if you look there, I mean, I won't bring it back up again. I'll just read it out. Our bench, right? This could be our bench. Ramsdale, Zinchenko, Timber, Tomiyasu, Partey, Nwaneri, Trossard, Jesus, Havertz. That could be a bench. That's what I'm saying. That is proper squad depth again now.
You know what that does? That takes us. If Man City are 9.5, that puts Arsenal on 10. If we was to pull that off, so it's all fine margins. If we had that squad, that how they keep last season, suddenly that's gone, and suddenly they're looking at us worrying. That's how good that is.
There we go. That's what's got to happen. That's what we need. And that'll why I'll be annoyed if we don't get a centre forward and we don't really look at the wide areas. You know what I mean? If we try and try to cut corners, or if we leave ourselves short, that's how close it can be. You know what I'm saying? So
the strange thing about Man City, what have they done this summer?
Well, nothing. They've got that Savio kid in from Girona. That's it. But they signed him last year, or the winter. Yeah. But that's
the thing is, I suppose I think we must remember in November, Man City could suddenly find themselves minus 20 points.
I bloody hope so, mate. That's what I hope so. And I hope it's minus 50.
So you never know.
Do you reckon, though, that, I mean, just I don't want to go into the politics of that, but do you think we'll find out that quickly?
Well, that's what they're all saying. Something's going to happen in October, November. If you read like your Henry Winters of this world,
right,
that's when they think something's going to happen. But then there was another article the other day saying that they've got complete confidence that nothing will happen. So who knows? But I find it strange that Man City haven't really bought anyone this summer. You know what I mean? And there's more rumours about people leaving than people joining. But De Bruyne is staying. Harden, I see, scored a hat trick the other day. You know, they're not going to. They're still there, aren't they? The immovable force. But the only thing that could move them could be a court case. But that's another story.
That is another story, mate. Look, I will say this, and I believe you're a good man, and you're probably similar to me. If they have done nothing wrong and they are innocent, fair play. We get on with the game. But if they have tried to do everything that they said they're potentially looking and being investigated for, I really hope they do chuck the book at them, mate, because that to me is wrong. And I don't want any of the titles given to us. I don't want anything like that. I just want to crack on and they get the punishment that they deserve. That's what I want. I don't want them to say, right, Arsenal now won this, really, and Liverpool now won this. That's all a farce. Like,
Thing is, when it happened in Italy, they did award the titles to the other clubs, didn't they? I think Juventus and Milan, when they both got relegated, they lost their titles.
Well, let's see what happens to them. I mean, if they get relegated and put into League Two, it would be quite nice. But
the thing is, I'll tell you why it'd be unforgivable, especially if they have cheated. Not just us as Arsenal, as us and Liverpool have suffered. They've robbed all of us of the day out, the town hall,
100%,
joy of winning. You know, that wonderful feeling you'll on a Sunday, you go up the town. We'll never get that back because it didn't happen. And that's their fault
100%.
if they've cheated.
Yep, facts, mate. And that's what I'm hoping they can find out. And if they've done wrong, I think they should shut the book at them. If they haven't done anything wrong,
say the V.
And we crack on. That's the way I see it, mate. Let's talk quickly for the last few minutes before we come to a close about the actual season itself and what your thoughts are. What do you think the minimum expectation is for Arsenal this season, Chris? Because everyone's saying we've got to get a trophy, we've got to win the title. Some are saying it's time for the Champions League. Listen, I know we can dream, but what's your? I know what I think, but what's your kind of thoughts on this season, bruv?
Well, I think we've got to put something on the sideboard.
Yeah, same.
The Champions League, I don't know. Me, the bottom line of me, I want to win the league, Dan, basically. And I really believe, but see, I said this last summer, I really believe that we can win it.
Mm.
But I would like a good cup run, even if it's the League Cup. Seriously. I mean, Mourinho used to do that. He used to put that on the sideboard in February, and then he'd go on to win the league or something else. It's you know, and you could. That's where your Nathans and your young boys, you could play them in the League Cup, and you got something on the day out of Wembley. You've won the League Cup. That's done. Now let's go on and win the league. The Champions League is obviously a dream, but I've been dreaming that all my life. And next season is even going to be harder to win with the extra games. But who knows? That's with the hands of the gods. But the bottom line for me, league and a domestic cup.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would take the League Cup because it's been over 30 years before we last won it. Jose Mourinho and Pep Guardiola take it seriously and always have done in the last 2 decades. Chelsea and Man City have won it the most times. Now, people say that's because they got the best squad. But yeah, I agree with that. But it's also because they do take it seriously and they actually want to win that because it breeds confidence. Do you know what I mean?
Do you remember when Liverpool, when it was Arsenal and Liverpool going for things, or Liverpool always used to win the League Cup?
Yep. Yeah. 100%.
It was a thought. Put it on. It's done, isn't it? February, March. It's sort of you've put a trophy on the sideboard. You've got 12 games to go in the league. Let's go for it. But thing is, if we was to come second and just win the League Cup, would that be a successful season?
I think so, because you go on a trophy. People will look at that League Cup and they're like, oh, it's an energy drink cup. No one cares, mate. Go and tell Tony Adams and George Graham and Paul Merson whether it was a no one cares cup. they cared about it back then, and why don't we now? I don't know why more clubs don't do that, Chris. Like, so let's take a club like Brentford, Everton, West
Yeah,
Ham.
I don't want to know.
Why don't they go for them cups? I don't get it. I do
Because
not get it. Like,
unfortunately, the be end all of all is money and getting into Europe. I think your average fan, your West Ham fan, would bite your hand off a day out of Wembley in the League Cup final, say beating Tottenham. Imagine that. But
yeah.
the people that run West Ham's, I think, I'll guarantee you fifth. I know they take that. That's the economics of football, I'm afraid.
It is. Unfortunately, the game's about trophies, but when you talk to these owners, they actually want the money. It's crazy, really. But listen, in 10 years' time, if you're a West Ham fan and I said to you, I mean, to be fair, they have won the Conference League now, but if I said to them, you're going to win the League Cup in the next 5 years, and I said to them, you're going to come fifth a couple of times in the next 5 years, surely they want the trophy. But when you talk to the ownership, they want the fifth place money and the Europa and all this stuff. And it's like, come on, man, football's about winning trophies, not taking part in a European competition. It really is mad. But let's talk about us this season, because I know that I don't want to start talking about the Arteta in and out stuff, because that just becomes very toxic, in my opinion. But I do think there is a little bit of pressure on Mikel Arteta and the ownership this season. And I'll tell you why. I think there's pressure on the ownership more than Mikel Arteta, because they're the ones that will have to make the decision, right? But for me, as much as I think Arteta has done a wonderful job to get us competing, when is it that he's going to get us across the line? If it's not this season, then give me a date. I don't think anyone can. Now, then they'll go back and throw that Pep Guardiola's too good and that you can't beat him, which is rubbish, by the way, because Ten Hag beat him in May and he didn't win the Champions League this year. And we can go on about Klopp and Conte, who have won Premier Leagues while he was at Man City. So my kind of question to you, Chris, is what sort of pressure should there be from the ownership now to demand silverware? Because I think we need to do something this season, man. I really do.
Well, the answer to that is I fully expect Arteta to sign a new contract before the season starts. So they're happy with him. So obviously there's pressure, but I can't see him. Even if we was have a disastrous season, come out the top four or something, that'd be different. But I can't see him leaving. I expect him to stay for another 2 or 3 years, Dan, whether he wins something or not.
Mate, you're spot on. I agree with every word. I don't think there's any pressure on Mikel Arteta whatsoever. I think the fans believe there is, but I don't think the ownership thinks there is. I think the ownership like him. They want him here. I think even if we come fourth and 1-0, he'd still sign. They like what he's done. They like what he's doing. And unfortunately, I'm a winner. I want to win stuff. And we're now halfway through the Wenger out period. There was 9 years of Wenger. We're now 5 years without winning something. We've got to deliver, haven't we? Otherwise, it's going to get toxic again, in my opinion. So I think there is a different regime around the place now. There is a different side of the fan base. I think they're very much on side with what the Cronkies and Arteta are doing. I understand that we're fighting and challenging again, but we can't march down Hornsey Road to want Wenger out for coming second to Leicester and then go, this guy's come 8th, 5th and got us a title race. Still hasn't won us anything. So we've got to be consistent, is my point. Like, raise the standards. We've got to be able to deliver and demand silverware. And I think this is the year to do it. I personally... I've said it last night on Babs' channel. I think we will win silverware this year. I honestly do.
But the thing is, forget Man City. I'm looking at Man United. They're in a mess. I can't believe they've stuck with the manager.
No, neither.
Chelsea, I fully expect to come in the bottom half of the table. Tottenham, I don't know what's happening there. I mean, you talk about if Ainge starts the season badly. I mean, they let in 68 goals last season, Tottenham. But then you go what I call the next level is your Newcastle's Villa. Villa, I think would be a right dark horse. They've had an excellent window, bought some good players. They've got a good team, Villa. Then
they have.
If you sit down and look at it, and then I mentioned West Ham. So Liverpool, I don't really know, but they've changed their style of football. They're not going to go wham bam, thank you, man. It's going to be a bit more stylish, apparently. So I mean, it's there. I believe it's there for us. It's between us and Man City, and I'll be keeping my eye on Villa and Liverpool, Newcastle, and obviously Newcastle at a push. They've kept all their players, but haven't bought anyone really. And then, obviously, you got the Hammers who could shock a lot of people.
Well, listen, let me ask you this to close, because a lot of people asked me this, and my answer I'll give you first, and then I'll see where you're at. I think we'll win a trophy this season. The next question that people always throw at me is which one, and I've gone for the FA Cup. One, because it's our trophy. I like the number 15, and I think we could get the number 15 over the line. And I personally feel like we're going to have the squad to be able to compete a little bit further in it. Now, I've gone for the FA Cup over the League Cup because Mikel Arteta has seemed to have taken that one a little bit more seriously than the League Cup. In the last couple of years, we've had Liverpool and Man City and gone out quite early with draws that we've had which weren't favourable to us. But I fancy us to go away in a competition domestically this season. I've gone for the FA Cup. If we are to win a trophy this season, Chris, is it going to be the Champions League, the League, or one of the domestic cups? And if so, which one?
The League. Yeah.
The League. Please. That's the one we want.
I think we'll do it this year.
I love that, man. I love that confidence. And I think a couple more players, and I think we'll have an unbelievable chance. I really do. And well, I think we've got an unbelievable chance anyway. I think it sounds silly, this, but already the Calafiori in my mind makes a lot of sense, because the goals that we conceded last year, not all of them, but a lot of them were down that left-hand side where Zinchenko was, or where Kivior was covering, or whatever it be. With Calafiori and Merino there sorting out our left-hand side. I honestly do think that is two signings that will keep us solid, and hopefully, as you say, keep a few more clean sheets. But we'll have to see. We'll have to find out, mate. We'll have to see. Listen, man, it's been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure speaking to you, and it's been great to catch up with you. Make sure you do me a favour, people. Make sure you hit a like on this one. There's how many? 300 of you watching still, and we have not even hit 100 likes. So let's get that over to 100 likes, people. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Make sure you check out our sponsors, Manscaped, who are in the pinned comments, which will take you through to their website. Get yourself the Beard Hedger for 20% off, which will come off automatically using that link. And we will be back. I'll be back probably later on this evening. I'm going to drop a video round about early evening in relation to Arteta's defence and what he's trying to build. So make sure you check that one out. And I'll probably be back later on this evening as well. Chris, absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on, mate.
All right, mate. Good luck. See you later.
Top man. Take care, people. We'll see you next time. Laters.
Yes, people, Manscaped is back. But this time, it's not for below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of radiant settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.